Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to tackle a concept in JavaScript that, honestly, it trips up everyone at some point, beginners and even seasoned pros, but it is absolutely crucial to master. We're talking about truthy and falsy values.
All right, so let's jump right in. We're going to start with a puzzle, a situation that I guarantee every single one of you who's written JavaScript has run into.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You write a super simple if statement, you pass in a value you're sure should work, and crickets. Nothing happens. Or maybe even worse, something you thought would definitely fail somehow passes. What is going on there? Well, it all comes down to this kind of mysterious thing JavaScript does called type coercion.
And look, this isn't just some random academic thing to know. This is so fundamental to the language that, you guessed it, it's a classic technical interview question. So picture this. You're in the interview, and the hiring manager leans forward and asks you this exact question. If you nail this answer, it shows you really get how JavaScript works under the hood. So let's make sure you are absolutely ready for that moment. Okay, let's break it down. What exactly are we talking about here? I promise it's way simpler than it sounds once you get the main idea. So the first thing we need to wrap our heads around is something called a Boolean context. What is that? It's basically any spot in your code where JavaScript is expecting a simple true or false. The most obvious place you see this is inside the parentheses of an if statement, right? But it also shows up in other places, like with ternary operators or logical and/or operations. Okay, so when JavaScript finds itself in one of those Boolean contexts, it has to make a choice. A truthy value is pretty much any value that JavaScript looks at and says, yep, for all intents and purposes, this is true. And you'll be surprised, most values in JavaScript actually fall into this camp. And then, of course, you have the other side of the coin, falsy values. Now here's the secret. This is a very small, specific list of values that JavaScript treats as false. And honestly, the whole trick to mastering this topic is just memorizing that short list. And here they are. This is the list you need to burn into your brain. The falsy values are the Boolean false, of course, the number 0, an empty string, just the quotes with nothing inside. Then you have null, undefined, and finally NaN, which stands for not a number. That's it. That's the whole crew. So this brings us to the single most important rule of all. Ready? If a value is not on that list we just saw, it is always truthy. Period. And this is where people get tripped up all the time. Think about it. What about an empty array? It feels like it should be falsy, right? But is it on the list? Nope. So it's truthy. What about an empty object? Same deal. It's truthy. Seriously, this one detail causes so many bugs, so it's a huge one to remember. Oh, and this one is a classic trap. Let's say you have a string, but inside it is the character 0, or a string with the word false in it. You might think, oh, that's got to be falsy. But let's go back to our list. Is a non-empty string on there? No. The only falsy string is an empty one. So because these strings have something in them, they are 100% truthy. All right, enough talking theory. Let's actually see this in action. I've got a couple of quick code examples that will make this crystal clear. Okay, first up, we have an if statement with the number 0 as the condition. So we ask ourselves, is the number 0 on our list of falsy values? Yes it is. That means this condition evaluates to false and our code is going to jump straight to the else block. So what do we see in the console? Falsy. Now for the next one. This time, the condition is the string hello. So same process. Let's check our list. Is a non-empty string on our falsy list? No way. So that means it's truthy. The condition passes, the code inside the if block runs, and we get truthy logged to the console. See how that works? It's just about checking that list. So you might be thinking, okay, I get it, but why is this so important? Well, getting this right has a massive impact on your code and honestly on your career as a developer. It really comes down to 3 big wins for you. Number 1, you're going to write cleaner, shorter, and way more professional-looking code. Number 2, you're going to save yourself hours of headache by avoiding some really sneaky and unexpected bugs. And number 3, like we talked about, you're going to walk into that interview and absolutely ace this question, showing them you know your JavaScript.
Okay, to really lock this in and get you prepped, I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. Think of it as a final boss battle. Right now, without looking back or checking Google, can you name all of the falsy values from memory? Pause if you need to. Seriously, try it. Because if you can list them off the top of your head, you've pretty much mastered this entire concept. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I'll catch you in the next one.